further accommodations should contact the superintendent and the schools at the school's corporation central office. The meeting will be electronically recorded and will be kept on file at the superintendent's office. Copy of the audio recordings will also be available on the website. Okay. With that, please rise for our national anthem. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance. Until I haven't done this. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Pursuant to tonight's agenda, we have persons to address the board relative to the agenda. I'm sorry, that's not right. Review of approval minutes from February 16th. The executive session memorandum from March 2nd, 2023, executive session memorandum from March 7th, 2023, and executive session memorandum from March 13th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Motion. And moved by Mr. Lombard, seconded by Mr. King. All those in favor? We have to have a roll call vote. Roll call. Will you start on this end?
Yes.
Aye.
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 Aye for Mr. Bailey. All approved. Motion carries to approve the minutes. All right. Next item on the agenda is persons to address the board relative to the agenda. It looks like from Mr. Vallandigham we have two. First up is Mr. Logan Feltz. And you will have 3 minutes, Mr. Feltz.
I noticed on the agenda tonight, letter E, number 2, says purchase agreement with Springville School, and I got a question about that. So if we're gonna sell some land, I'm not sure if it's the 2 sections that we still own, 1 section that we own, or what your agreement is totally with that, but I'm curious what that's gonna do for North Lawrence. They're not ignorant people that run their school. When they purchased the land or they were given the land from North Lawrence, they knew what they were getting. And I know there's been some debate over the septic field area and the entry. And both those were known up front. And now we're gonna sell that, I assume, back to them. And I don't see where North Lawrence wins in that other than an olive branch. And I would just like to hear from this board how we expect to, that's 3 kids, a little over 3 kids, that we're making with that $20,000 in student money. And I would like to know how North Lawrence wins, other than an olive branch. When I went to Detroit, Michigan one night on a whim, and I bought a chopper, real big, long motorcycle. And I got there, and I still brought it home, even though we had trouble getting it started. I knew what I was getting when I got it. It sits in my garage. I rode it for a little bit. I enjoyed it. But now it's more of something to look at, but I knew what I was getting. I wasn't rude. And I wish this board would just tell us how North Lawrence financially wins in that situation. The other thing is E1. On that, it says donation, and I'm just, on board docs, I didn't see anywhere where it said what exactly it was. If it's gonna be like it was in the past, where we just have a public auction, and we sell these things that we don't need anymore, or what the donations are and where they're going. I would just either have a transparent document that people could review before we came here. And I know there's administrators were asked what they needed in their buildings, and they talked to our teacher, our administrator talked to us in our building what our needs were. But maybe there was something in that building that teachers didn't know they need. So before anything is given away, I would like an opportunity for teachers, I don't know that I need anything, but if teachers want to go through and say, hey, I needed that globe for my classroom, or I needed whatever, I would like that opportunity to be had before we had a for sure auction date, before we gave anything away. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Phelps. I do think some of that will come out in the discussion on those agenda items.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Mr. Randy Baker. Again, 3 minutes, and please state your name and your address.
Randy Baker, 1904 J Street. January the 30th, my wife was tripped in school, Parkview Elementary. She works with the family handicap, and one little girl's tripped her. Now, before I go any farther, workman's comp has been absolutely top notch. The problem is when my wife fell, she broke a kneecap, only to be told, well, whenever you can get up, you can go to the nurse's office. Not knowing the extent of injury, she's sitting there crying, can't get up, but yet, when you can get up, not will let me help you get up, but when you can get up. She finally got up and finally made it to the nurse's office. My question is, what is the protocol when somebody is fallen or hurt in our school system? I mean, this is a young teacher, I think her first year. I won't even talk about the age because to me that's immaterial with her. But the teacher didn't even offer to make a phone call to the nurse's office, say, hey, we've got somebody down, we need your help, she's hurt. Only to find out that she's got a broken kneecap and she's gonna be off for 3 months. I think my resolution would be that all teachers need a memorandum about protocol, what happens when somebody falls. She's not the only one, because just here recently, in another part of the school, another woman has fallen, and as bad as we need aides in this school system, she's no longer called. Now, folks, that's wrong. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your input from speakers. Next items on the agenda, Ms. Muter.
I present to the board claims and payroll since the last board meeting in the amount of $2,127,375.81.
All right, we'll entertain a motion to approve the claims as stated by Ms. Muter.
So moved.
And
I will second that.
Okay, moved by Ms. Collier, seconded by Mr. Lombard. Is there any discussion relative to approval of these claims? All right. If not, roll call vote. Start with Ms. Miller down here.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Tracy? Aye. It's unanimous. All right, the ayes have it. All right. Next item on the agenda, personnel agenda.
I ask the board to approve the personnel agenda as presented to you this evening.
I will make that motion.
A second.
All right, moved by Mr. Lombard, seconded by Mr. King. The personnel agenda has been presented to us. Is there any discussion centered around the personnel agenda? All right. If no discussion, then again, vote by roll call to approve the personnel agenda as submitted. Ms. Miller?
Aye.
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 Tracy? Aye. Okay, unanimously approved.
Yeah, I do have something to say there, though. We have a few retirements. We have Amy Fox retiring, James Webb, and Terry Kirk that I see retiring, and we would love to thank those people for their work with us. We appreciate all the years that they put in with our school corporation, so
Good point.
we appreciate our retirees.
Yes,
They-
just want to thank them all.
They've always taken the game. Been here a long time normally.
Looks like close to 60 years of experience, over 60 years of experience walking out our doors. Thankful to those people.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to item E on our agenda, School Attorney, Mr. Greg Pittman. Mr. Pittman?
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. You have before you a resolution to approve the disposition is donate, sell, or dispose of surplus property. The property that's listed in Exhibit A is property that was removed from, I believe, Springville and Fayetteville. It consists of essentially mostly furniture. It has hanging wall cabinets, freestanding cabinets, some floor cabinets with countertops, some basketball goals, a number of science lab tables, metal folding chairs, musical instruments, just a couple of musical instruments that are in there, and then filing cabinets, some student desks, and plastic chairs. The resolution is prepared in a way that authorizes the board to, well, first of all, it's my understanding that all building administrators have had an opportunity to look at the items of personal property first, and it was first offered to anyone at North Lawrence that needed it, that they've had an opportunity to take that property that they want, that they can use in their buildings. What's left cannot be used at North Lawrence, is my understanding. So the idea here is that if the board would like to allow the charter schools to come look at that property to see if they can use it, that they would have the opportunity to do that. The resolution authorizes that. And then whatever is not taken by the charter schools would be available to be either sold or disposed of by the superintendent at the superintendent's discretion. So I believe the resolution doesn't state that you have to give first option to the charter schools, but I believe that would be the what the intent of it is to allow them to come look at it and see if they can utilize it. So I'd present resolution for surplus property to the board.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Pittman. I'll entertain a motion. It sounds like I had
Okay.
from Mr. King a motion to approve the resolution submitted by Mr. Pittman on the donation, sale, disposal for surplus property. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Ms. Miller, second. Any discussion around the disposal, donation, or sale of the surplus property?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Mr. Underwood, Mr. Pittman, for helping facilitate this. And like I said, we did have opportunity for everyone from North Lawrence Community Schools coming, administrators come in, take a look at it and see what they wanted. A large amount of that material has been moved already and has been utilized somewhere else in the corporation. And I'd really like to thank the facilities director, Donnie Zolman, because him and his team had the situational awareness and foresight that when they removed that stuff from the Springville and Fayetteville, that they did it in such a way that it would be easy to be used or reused again. So it's a lot of it is usable and has been used by NLCS and maybe used by the charter schools because they did a good job of making sure that when they removed it, it could be reused. So just Sally, appreciate what Donnie and his group did.
Thank you, Mr. King. Any other discussion related to this?
Just a question. So do we know that every principal has come to look at it, or was there ever a list generated to pass out to their teachers, or
I
how did
believe
that work?
Mr. Underwood facilitated the building administrators to be able to come look at it, so he'd have to answer that one.
Okay. So they all made a tour?
Not all of them came.
Okay.
They all had the opportunity.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay. And is this something that, because I know we've had, auctions or whatever in the past with surplus property, is that something that would be done or could be done here, or?
Yes, it can be.
Okay. Okay. And this resolution allows any of those options?
It gives superintendent discretion to do either one, so it's up
Okay.
to the board to direct superintendent how you wish that to be done. If you want
Right.
the charter,
Yeah.
that first option.
Yeah, I believe the intent was to offer charter schools first, and then we would access what's left, and depending on the condition it's in.
Like the basketball goals, they were made specifically for the gyms, so they're not usable in any of our gyms in our current schools now, so there's no use us keeping them.
Okay, any other further items of discussion? All right, the motion then is to accept the resolution as submitted and discussed for the donation, sale, or disposal of the surplus property. Again, vote by roll call. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All right, the ayes have it. Nays? There are no nays, okay. Then the motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the review of a purchase agreement from Mr. Pittman.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. And similar to the last resolution, this is a resolution for the sale of surplus property. This is real property This is the real estate that's out by Springville. It's all of the real estate that's still owned by North Lawrence Community Schools. The actual recipient of, or the purchaser, proposed purchaser of this property is the Springville Community and Rural Foundation, Inc. They're the ones that own the actual building, and I believe either lease it or allow the school to operate inside the building. But the actual owner is the foundation. There's a statute that allows the school to sell or donate to nonprofits that are the purpose for which those nonprofits exist is education or recreation. So you don't have to offer it for a public sale. So we've received a proposal from the foundation, and they have performed an appraisal. The appraisal came back at $20,500, and you all have a copy of that. And we've also received a purchase agreement, proposed purchase agreement. There's been no agreement reached. That's what tonight is for you to review that purchase agreement and consider it tonight. The purchase agreement is for $20,500. There have been some revisions that I actually made to it. I struck some language in the agreement, so that will be, but the Exhibit B that describes that property contains those revisions. The property is described in Exhibit A, and that is what was presented in the purchase agreement that we received. So I would offer that resolution to the board for consideration.
All right, the proposal then is a resolution to allow us as the board to sell this real property. Do I have a motion?
Make motion, we sell.
Mr. King makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Ms. Miller makes a second. Is there discussion on this issue?
Yeah, I suppose I can address it, I guess, since Logan came forward, but, you know, part of this is based on the history of how the charter schools got to be where they're at, but the land is pretty much landlocked in terms of how we could use it. There's multiple septic tanks on it. We discussed it and decided it would really be difficult to sell it to anyone else or any other purpose. And they had a fair certified appraisal. We think that was a good offer. And so all those things considered, we think it's the best thing we should do. We believe it's a step in the right direction for us.
And the actual Springville School is built, 7-8 feet on that property. So
That's
when we
correct.
owned it, they built over the line. So if we sold it, we couldn't even sell all the property. So we figure it's good to go back to them. And it is a goodwill measure in part, hoping, because we do want their students for high school.
Very good. Any other discussion related to this topic?
Who did the appraisal?
I don't have the appraisal in front of me. I can't recall.
It's a place in Bloomington. I believe it's a firm in Bloomington, but I don't remember.
I'm sorry.
I believe it was a firm in Bloomington, but I don't remember. This is the second one they've gotten, correct? Second appraisal.
No, that's
This is first.
well, I don't know if there was another.
I believe they presented us the opportunity to pursue a second appraisal if we so chose, and we did
Correct.
not choose to pursue a second appraisal.
Correct.
Anything else?
I can look it up, Kirsten.
I had another question, but I don't know, just to kind of answer Logan's question, about the knowledge of the issues with the property when Springville acquired it, Mr. Pittman. They were aware of the issues, correct? And it had been discussed for, well, I guess a couple of years now
Yes, that's correct.
of how to dispose of this property or,
Yeah, I think they'd made an offer to purchase it at $10,000 at one time, and the board declined to entertain it.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been familiar with it since before they accepted it.
Okay.
It was Richard S. Fig Appraisal Group is who performed the appraisal.
Okay.
Out of Bloomington.
All right. Any other discussion related to this topic? All right. Hearing none, then the motion is to approve the purchase agreement with the Scarf, the owner of the property there that Springville Community Academy sits on. We are going to do a vote by roll call. All those in favor, the aye. Ms. Miller?
Aye.
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 Tracy? Is an aye. All those opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Pittman. I think the next thing on our agenda, item F, curriculum, is Ms. Hudson and Mr. Calhoun.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Board, good evening. Bring to you the first piece, F1. Actually, there should be a slight change. That's not a motion or a move to approve tonight. That would be the first reading through of the handbook approvals for the 23-24 school year. We'd have a reading this month and then a reading into April. So as those are shared with you and there's feedback for any of the handbooks that are presented, we can work through that.
So I read through these changes, and I had a couple comments. Should I just get with you or with someone else or what?
If you'd like to work directly with the building principal as well, or through those.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever.
That's fine.
Whatever works better.
Okay.
To share.
All right.
And the noted changes are in with your packets too, of, the things that are highlighted in red and then what specific pages are on. Thank you for adjusting to that.
Scott, next item then.
All right.
No motion necessary there, right?
Nope, yep.
All right.
Next month.
Thank you. All right, I'd like to present for approval to the board, please, matrix created for upgrading access points in the elementary and administration buildings.
Access points, Mr. Calhoun, are
So, what's it down? Right here. These help share the signal when we have the network signal.
so that it's our Wi-Fi.
Yep, and it helps spread it out, and a lot of the ones in the school building load share, so if you have more than one, less than another, it can help set it up. And then we did our E-rate process, and we had the bid opening on March 3rd, and we had the two. And then what was presented in the packets as well is the score rate sheet that we had created for us from 5-star, which group won the proposal as far as that went. It's for the score, which was the matrix group. And the big piece that we went with, or that they did a good job with, is that it matches the ones we've already put in the district. So it keeps that consistent. And if we share them as we need, we can move them around the district.
That's the Aruba brand, right?
That is the Aruba brand.
Okay.
All right, so the recommendation then is, from Mr. Calhoun and the administration, is to approve the matrix as the vendor for the upgrade of our access points. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Mr. King makes the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Lambert seconds. Any discussion further on this topic? All right, hearing none, then by roll call vote, Ms. Miller, all those in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
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 Mr. Bailey says aye. All the nays, should be none. All right, motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Next to have approval for the Chromebook refresh purchase for the 23-24 school year. This is specifically getting Chromebooks for our incoming 7th and incoming 9th graders.
Approximately how many is that?
That is roughly 528. We're looking to purchase 675, which gives us, for the life of the run of those devices, roughly 73 overage per grade, which helps for breaks, trade outs, owners, etc. At new students that come in.
Is that your typical amount for spares and stuff?
Yep,
Okay.
roughly. There's not a ratio, but that's usually, we go ahead and get over it that way.
All right. So it says you put your request in for the procurement center. I guess that's for the RP, and we just need approval to go ahead and exercise that? Okay.
And what is the expected lifetime of those? Can't be that long, can it?
It's actually not too bad because we use the Google platform and there's not a lot of outside, since we can control and push things to the devices.
Yeah.
And we get this, shared to you guys too. We have a model, so these will go about 5 to 6 years.
Oh.
Pretty good.
And then depending on where they're at in their life, we can move them down to the lower, like the primary grades, because their functionality can do certain things that don't need a lot of juice.
Yeah.
A lot of processing power, so we can really utilize them for a long time. And this is a similar model to the ones that are already going. So, and we've been pleased with this Acer version.
I assume with wear and tear in 7th and 9th graders, it might be a little shorter than that, but kudos to the students taking care of their year, it sounds like.
It does help with our Chromebook repair classes.
Yeah, good.
Okay, a related question to the use of these. So they use these in most of the classes, right? Middle school and up. So since they use them so much in the classes, if the students are having trouble with theirs during the day, is there someone in the school that they can go and get? Okay.
Yep.
So there's always someone available to help them if they're having issues.
And if there's someone either to collect them and help process them move forward, or to direct, where and when they can get support on it.
Okay.
Either through their 5-star tech or on site if they have the student class helping, or someone on site to process a loaner, which is good. The turnaround's pretty quick.
Excellent. All right. Thank you.
And Ms. Muter, from a financial aspect, this is fully planned for and
Yes.
expected.
We met on it.
Okay. All right, then we have a recommendation from the administration, Mr. Calhoun, to approve the Chromebook refresh as discussed. Do I have a motion?
I will make the motion.
Mr. Lambert makes the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. King, you make the second. Any further discussion on this topic? Okay, then by roll call vote, Ms. Miller, vote for aye.
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 Tracy's an aye. All those opposed? None to oppose, so the motion carries. And Mr. Calhoun, it looks like one more item. Approval for, I'll let you go.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I'd like to ask the board's approval for teachers and director, site director and district director for the district to attend the AVID, which is the Advancement via Individual Determination Program, the AVID Annual Conference. So it'll be 4 teachers and 1 director. And actually, these locations, we'll have to find new locations. They have multiple of these. Today we found out Orlando's sold out. So we'll look to find, they have other options. But I wanted to make sure I shared that because we got the message today from AVID overall that Orlando is.
Filled up.
Maybe there's one in South Dakota.
I don't know.
Sounds appealing, yeah.
Yes.
If there is, I'll go with you. Love South Dakota.
All right, so then you're saying there's a location to be determined for the 4
Yes,
teachers.
so I wanted to make sure that the board is aware, because we found out that since this is a national program, people, and there's only a limited amount of the ones they do in June and July during the summer, that kind of thing can happen. So it opens actually on February 14th, typically every year, February 14th, 15th. A couple of the sites sell out on the first day, so.
Okay.
But yes,
If you if you switch to Aruba, I'm going to chaperone.
Okay, duly noted.
All right, then we have a recommendation from Mr. Calhoun and the administration for the board to consider approval of this trip. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Lambert makes a motion, Ms. Miller seconds. Any discussion further on this topic? All right, if If none, then we'll vote by roll. Ms. Miller, start us again.
Aye.
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 Tracy? Aye. All those opposed? None to oppose. The motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Calhoun.
Thanks.
Appreciate that. Next on our agenda item from Transportation Department, Mr. Dwayne Bodie.
Mr. Halleck, Mr. Underwood, members of the school board, we would request that we revise our current purchase order. Currently, a year ago, we ordered a 70-passenger Thomas C2 bus and two 84-passenger Thomas pullers. We would like to rescind the order on the two 84s and go with three 78s instead. So you see in your packet the savings from $415,376,000. That fits our $400,000 for the year budget. We submit that for your approval.
All right, we have a recommendation to change this bus order from the administration from Mr. Bodie's department. Do we have a,
A motion.
you want to do discussion first? Okay.
Any questions?
Oh, you had a question?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Miller, do you have a question?
Nope.
Okay, I'm sorry.
They will
Getting
make
ahead of me on the voting.
We're making motions.
All right, Ms.
saving-
Miller makes the motion then.
We're saving money. We're
All right.
making the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. King seconds. Discussion relative to this change in the bus order. Ms. Muter, do we mind saving money?
Yeah, we already met on it.
Okay.
I agree.
All right. I thought that'd be okay. All right, all those in favor are gonna vote by roll call. All those in favor? Ms. Miller?
Aye.
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 Tracy? Aye. All those opposed? None to oppose. The motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Bodie.
Thank you very much.
All right, our next item on the agenda is Mr. Jeff Callahan, Athletics.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President, the school board. It's always a pleasure to come and speak before the board. Before I get into the middle school soccer proposal, I just want to say we've got a lot of great things going on in the extracurricular world at Bedford North Lawrence High School. They just had the musical this past weekend with The Sound of Music. I left the gym just now, and Jimmy Jones is out there with the drum line, and they're practicing for their state competition. We have club Starnable's coming up soon. Student council runs that, so there's just a lot of great things, and obviously in athletics with Cole Baker's success and finishing on the podium twice at the state finals in swimming, and then with our girls winning the state championship this year in girls basketball. There's just a lot of positive things going on now at Bedford North Lawrence High School, not just in athletics, but just in a lot of extracurriculars. So I just want to kind of give a shout out to and kind of let people know that there's a lot of good things going on. Now, before I turn it over to Brian Banks, he's going to come up here and talk a little bit about soccer. There comes a time when there's an opportunity with kids coming through and parents or a group of people that have the desire to see us expand opportunities for kids. And that's why we're here, and that's why we have schools for opportunities for kids. We've had that with softball and baseball recently, and having the middle school programs. We've had it in the past with bowling at the high school, where these programs are not necessarily school funded, but they're school supported in the sense that the athletic departments help with the equipment, providing equipment or facilities. We also help get the word out to the kids and let them know that there's opportunities, again, whether it's been baseball or softball or bowling, and now we're looking to move forward with the possibility of soccer. And I've met on a couple different occasions with Mr. Banks, and he's put together a proposal that I believe that you have as far as just trying to get the soccer program from middle school off the ground and running this fall. And now's a great time to have him come up and kind of answer any questions or talk a little bit about the middle school soccer program that we would like to see the board approve. And again, the school support, not as an extracurricular on the contract and pay scale at this time, and we may look for those down the road, but right now it would be again a school supported but a self-funded program. Mr. Banks?
Jeff, I have one question, if I can.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Now,
Sorry.
it runs same time football and cross country, right?
Mhm.
So the kids can't do both since they're not both school supported, right?
For the most part,
I mean, if they're playing football and they
Right.
want to do soccer both, football's a school sport, so they have to go do football, not the soccer, right?
we haven't really discussed, that's never
Okay.
come to our attention that someone wanted to do that,
Okay,
but,
because I know when they did softball, that's how it was.
okay. One thing
So
that
I
we
didn't-
told them that I've told all the others with baseball and softball is that school functions definitely come first,
Okay.
you know, because I know, you know, if there's band concerts or different things that the school has going on,
Yeah, okay.
they don't miss school opportunities for a non-school thing.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Grant.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff, and thanks for Kurt also. And I'm gonna say thank you also to the high school coaches for being here too, Brad. And Ryan, thank you very much. So, and thanks to the board for having me, appreciate it. What I wanna say then, you all have the program, I guess, from the PowerPoint there, so I probably ought to tell my wife thank you too. She's prettied up the PowerPoint. I gave her just black and white slides, and that's the way you get it, so. What we're proposing is the North Lawrence Soccer Stars program, and the plan is to serve 7th and 8th grade boys and girls who will attend Bedford North Lawrence High School following middle school. So the program will be built upon the pillars of teamwork, leadership, goal setting, camaraderie, and physical activity. So, youth soccer is currently the largest organization in Lawrence County. We thought we set some records last year at Orbit. I'm part of that, and some of the other Orbit supporters are here. We thought we were doing big things with 497 children last year, and that's ages 4 through 18, by the way. But this year we're at 588 for the spring. So, you know, besides trying to figure out where to park everybody, we're actually having a pretty good time with it. Soccer is thriving. I mean, not only in our area, but it is in the United States as well, right? We had, the World Cup, Women's World Cup's coming up this year. The United States is hosting the World Cup. I mean, the time is right for this. So, there's Major League Soccer going well. So I don't need to sell you guys all on this, but I will say it seems like the time is right. So we're thrilled to help grow the soccer operation in Lawrence County with the addition of this middle school soccer team with these teams. So both boys and girls for 7th and 8th graders. So the program will work hand in hand with the BNL men's and women's soccer programs, to create a seamless transition from middle school into high school. So I will say that NLCS was one of the earliest adopters of soccer, especially in southern Indiana, being that the high school had soccer programs into their, starting in the early 90s. So, this town supported soccer for, that long, and really this is just, another step in that direction. It's a kind of continuation of what got started 30 years ago. So, I guess with that said, it's in the briefing there, but we're talking about, we will join there's a Southern Indiana Junior High Soccer Conference, and some of the, familiar names, mostly to the south and west of here, are involved in that, but we're, some more, a little closer, but we're talking Bloomfield, Eastern Green, Shoals, Bar Eve, Washington, some of those schools they're all in this conference. So, we're looking to play Mitchell as well. Seymour, we've been in contact with, so even some of the Hoosier Hills. So, essentially, just looking to fill that gap for all these kids that are playing this recreational game. We want them to be able to continue all the way for keep our high school successful and have the kind of numbers that they need to have and be playing at the highest competitive level. So, with that, I thank you for your time, and be ready for any questions.
I have a question. So you said it's open for anybody at this age group in the county. Right? So since it's not I guess it's a corporation supported club, but it's open for anybody in the county that's in this junior high age group. Okay. All right. And I think this is a good program to have the gap between the Orbits and the high school. I think the high school will benefit from this quite a bit.
So, again, it's a club soccer league sanctioned by, proposed to be sanctioned by the corporation. Cost that we heard was...
Yeah, I'm not asking for any money.
No cost to us. No cost to us, yeah.
And Robin,
It's one check
But
mark.
insurance and the coverage, when we approve this, insurance and coverage and all that, is it on, when it's on our grounds, is that all then covered by our property insurance and personal insurance and all that stuff? Okay.
We're good there?
It would be. They'd be required to carry their own, we want to contract with them to have a requirement that they maintain liability insurance and name us as an additional insured in the agreement and on their policies.
Okay.
But we'd work that out, the details.
Okay.
Very common.
Very common, okay, thank you. All right,
In terms of, she mentioned, I need to bring this up, football players or soccer players, so just want to let you know, soccer is like the number one minor sport in the world, so just make that out there.
Yeah, it would be like anything, they just choose what they wanna do,
Okay.
you know, cross country, football, soccer.
I just want to get that out there, since you brought up football.
I just, on that note, I'll just add one more thing I meant to say, so, really, we looked hard at, Orbit, turning the heat up a little bit on, turning their travel program on again, really heavy, and, I don't know who all has been involved in those kind of travel teams, but obviously you can, there's a bank account, involved, you gotta have a lot of money involved, so this is an alternative way to, get that kind of exposure and experience to other towns, to teams of other towns, and we will be able to reach, probably, a lot further, a lot more kids in the county of bigger socioeconomic backgrounds this way. Now, unless the school did want to pay for everything, obviously that means we've got to do our part with the fundraising and the booster club, because we still want to make it to where it's easily accessible for anybody that wants to play, and that's absolutely the goal. But yeah, we did look at other ways to help fill that pipeline, to the high schools, and this, out of all the courses of action, this seemed to be by far the best route to go.
Do you anticipate having all the coaches, getting all the coaches you're going to need?
Yeah, I've got a lot of interest, and unless somebody wants to arm wrestle me for it, or we, find somebody to come in, I'll be coaching the boys team, and we absolutely have some openings for the girls team, and assistant coaches are needed. But we've got some people in mind that we think we could twist their arms. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, and so this requires a motion to be approved then, Mr. Pittman?
Yes.
All right, so then we have a Mr. Callahan, do you have any other closing comments?
No.
All right. We have a recommendation then from the administration, from the athletics department, to approve establishment of a middle school soccer program. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve it.
Scott makes the motion, Mr. King makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Ms. Miller makes a second. Any further discussion on this topic?
I'm great with that. Yeah, that's fine.
All right, then vote by roll call, Ms. Miller.
Aye.
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 Tracy, nay. Are those opposed? None. All right, then the motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Callahan. Thank you, Mr. Banks.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda, item I, Mrs. Redmond.
Good evening.
Hello.
I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak in front of everyone. So before I introduce Ms. Arian Evans, our HOSA sponsor, I wanted to take a time to introduce you to career and technical student organizations, or in our world, those are CTSOs. And FFA, we've got Logan in the back. So that's probably the one that is most commonly known. And if you have been around vocational school for a while, you're probably familiar with VICA. Well, VICA has rolled into Skills USA as part of the rebranding for career and technical education. And I'm happy to report that we have 21 students from the Career Center competing at the State Skills USA competition next month. There are students competing in digital cinema, crime scene investigation, auto services, auto collision, precision machining, and welding. And hopefully I get to come back in May after their competition and report that we had some winners, or at least some placements. But for our health science students, they participate in what is called HOSA. And so I'll turn it over to our HOSA sponsor. Hello. Let me introduce myself. For those of you who don't know
know me. My name is Arian Evans. I have been the Health Science 2 instructor at the Career Center for 3 years now. I am the CNA program director, and also I've been the advisor for HOSA, Health Occupation Students of America, now for 2 years. I'm here today to ask permission to take 11 students to Indianapolis. We would need to leave April 11th and not come back until April 12th. So this is 3 days and 2 nights. We will be staying at the Marriott East in Indianapolis. The conference is all in that building, so there's no need to leave that building. HOSA has been very busy raising funds to pay for this. It costs about $2,500 for us to go. We raised all that money, and then I had a meeting with Hoosier Uplands, and they granted us the money. So we did it ourselves. They are paying for all of it. They're paying for our registration fees. They are paying for our hotel stays. I am providing transportation. I'm driving a little white bus up there with my students. So really, we don't need anything. Everything's under control. I've got another mother who is going. She went with us last year, passed the security checks. Last year I had 12 children go. This year I have one less. Have had no issues. It's a wonderful group of children. So I just need permission to take them overnight, please. Do you have any
All right,
questions?
thank you, Ms. Evans.
Can you handle all those kids?
I have 5 myself.
That wouldn't be
They're a wonderful
question
group.
with her.
I know.
That's what he told us.
What can, we're the same building, what can go
My
wrong?
second job is an emergency room nurse. So
Yeah.
it's really not a problem.
Pretty simple, yeah. Ms. Evans, do you have a CDL? Are you authorized to drive this bus? Is that a
I am
requirement?
authorized to drive the bus. When I started 2 years ago, you do not require, the transportation department does not require a CDL to drive the 12.
To the little white buses.
Little bus.
Yes, and I drive it
Yeah.
every day to clinicals at Snowbridge as well.
Very
So
good.
I'm very well.
All right. Thank you very much. Then the recommendation from the Career Center, Ms. Redmond, Ms. Evans, is the approval of this field trip. Do I have a motion?
No motion.
Ms. Miller makes a motion. Second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Lombrick seconds. Any further discussion on this topic?
Good luck, have fun.
Hearing none, roll call vote then. Say it here again. Ms. Collier.
Aye.
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 Tracy, aye. The ayes have it. All those opposed, none.
Fine.
All right.
Well,
Motion passes. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Ms. Redmond. Thank you, Mrs.
Good luck at state.
Ms. Evans. All right, coming towards the end of our agenda, item J, persons to address the board further. Are there any other persons relative to the agenda to address the board?
Looks like Lacey is volunteering back there.
Ms. Lacy Hawkins, NLEA.
I just have a quick request regarding the sale or donation of the property that's in storage. I know that we need an opportunity for principals to come and see that, those items. I'm not sure that every building's teachers got a list of what was available, and so I don't think teachers have had an opportunity to reach out in case they were interested in those items. I am passionate that those teachers get a first dig on that before we, especially before we donate it elsewhere, since the taxpayers of Lawrence County bought that for North Lawrence schools.
Thank you, Ms. Hawkins. All right. Item K on this agenda then, our closing business, upcoming meetings. I'm sorry, we have more people to address the board.
I'm Allison Rootchild. I serve as the Director of Operations for Orbit, and I just wanted to take a moment to tell you all thank you for voting in favor of the middle school soccer program. We greatly appreciate that support as we move forward in the growth that we've seen in our club. One of our bylaws for years now has been to work with the city and the county school corporations in an effort to develop soccer at the varsity level, and we appreciate this opportunity to help make BNL a more successful, vibrant program.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your hard work supporting Orbits.
There's another
We have another
hand.
volunteer.
Another persons to address the board then. I believe you're Mr. Rootchild then, is that
John
correct?
Rootchild,
Okay.
yes, I am married to the Director of Operations for Orbit. So you can record our address, 8244 State Road 58. I just want to also thank, first of all, Mr. Callahan, for your support for the proposal and what has been accepted for bringing soccer to a little bit of a younger age here at the corporation. And I want to bring it down to a little bit further myself on behalf of 102 2, 3, and 4-year-olds that someday will potentially be attending the school corporation here. Thank you very much. Our TOP program, which I'm one of the coaches for our 2, 3, and 4-year-olds, is a vibrant program. We're actually this year incorporating a curriculum to be able for all of our TOPS coaches to be able to use that. And we are doing this with the foresight and the intention of really building up soccer participation here within the county. And really this step with having the middle school program hopefully will allow us to maybe even incorporate that down a little bit further down into maybe the elementary schools, like with basketball. Yes, I know basketball will always be king here in Indiana, but as one of the biggest minor sports in the world, soccer definitely is a wonderful game. And so again, thank you so very much for approving this. And we are so excited as a club to be there to assist this club as it develops. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, other persons to address the board? All right, seeing none, then in our closing business, upcoming meetings. Mr. Underwood, our next scheduled meeting is March the 28th, is that correct?
March 30.
March 30th.
30th, I'm sorry, March 30th.
We have one on, yeah, is that right?
Work session, 5 o'clock.
Work session.
30th?
March 30th.
All right. I believe that brings us to the close of this business then tonight, does not? You're confirming the March 30th date, not giving them, finally, we're done listening to Adam talk about this stuff. So. All right. Then in closing, I think I need to have a motion to adjourn. So looking for a motion from the board to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Lombard moves to adjournment. Do I have a second for adjournment?
I'll second.
Mr. King seconds. All those in favor by roll call vote. Ms. Miller?
Aye.
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 And Mr. Baylor. All right, thank you all this evening. Appreciate your time and suffering through this with me.